Blog Talk Radio.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Well, I guess it helps. If I turn on the mic, right? Let's start this Saturday off. I tell you what the problem is. My coffee pot must be on the fritz because it's not brewing coffee, so everything gets jacked up. My name's John Marquis, El Presidente. Welcome to The Balance. We do this thing called The Balance every Saturday morning. I am your leader. I am your host. Over the next 2 hours, I will guide you through this crazy world of sports. And guess what? We can officially say that the NFL is back. No, it's preseason. You know what? Don't educate me and tell me what preseason is, and it doesn't mean anything, and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't really matter. No, it didn't. The Hall of Fame game on Thursday against the Broncos and the Falcons, and the Broncos won. Didn't mean anything. Although it is kind of cool that the way they got that set up there in Canton, Ohio. If you've never been to Canton, Ohio, I encourage you to go there. But it is back. It is back, and we are back talking NFL as well. College football, we'll dip our toes into that a little bit today as well. Matt Hicks joins us. First of all, Matthew Embury, our official IndyCar contributor, will join us here, breaking down the last heap. We're on the final stretch of IndyCar 2019. And Matt Hicks joins us and talks some Colts camp, and just we're getting our stuff all stirred up for the NFL. Ed Kractz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, and our official NFL contributor joins us, and Mo from the BS Sports Show. Stand by in the Balance Green Room is Matthew Embury. We'll be right back right here on the Balance Radio Network.
Tonight, I just want to take you away. Blow your hands up in the sky. Let's set this party alright.
The Air National Guard is a reserve component of the United States Air Force and serves alongside active-duty Air Force members in times of a national crisis. In addition, the Air Guard serves the state and local community in a wide range of capacities. The reason people join the Air Guard is as diverse as our members and includes such reasons as a deep desire to serve their country, money for college, travel, new job skills, and the pride that goes along with belonging to the greatest military organization in the world. I joined because I felt a calling to serve my country, but I didn't want to be far away from my family, so the Indiana Air National Guard was a perfect fit for me. With over 95 different career opportunities to choose from and 100% paid college tuition to any state-funded college, why not give us a call? Call 1-800-841-3103 or visit online at goang.com to find out more. Again, that's 1-800-841-3103. The Air National Guard, guarding America, defending freedom.
It's double trouble, double the fun at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. See the largest antelope on Earth, the giant eland, and the ugliest creature on Earth, the African warthog. There's so much to see and do, including the Midwest's only drive-through safari. Feed the animals, see live educational shows, feel the excitement. Have your picture taken with a python or cockatoo. Feel the adventure. Shop the Simba Lodge gift shop with items available from around the globe. Visit the snack bar or picnic facilities. Enjoy a pony or camel ride. Or cheer your favorite porker on to victory in the famous Pork Chop Down. Bring your family to see the rare and exotic animals at African Safari Wildlife Park in Port Clinton, Ohio. Just take Route 2 to the Route 53 North exit and follow the sign. Only 17 miles west of Cedar Point via Route 6. Open every day, rain or shine.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike,
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be hard. Like early 90s heavy metal hard.
I'm yelling and screaming, and I'm loud. Roar.
Geico makes it easy. You can review and update your policy or report a claim on Geico.com or the Geico mobile app. Because shouldn't we all have a little less stress in our lives?
I'm not even upset about anything.
All right, and welcome back to The Balance. Let's get things kicked off. Standing by with us right now is Matthew Embury, WSBT up in South Bend, official IndyCar contributor. How is you, sir?
Can't believe my Saints wasted all that money on Michael Thomas, and I can't believe that Melvin Gordon is being as difficult on my Chargers as he is right now. I got to say, if the work stoppage happens for the NFL next year, I'm definitely blaming the players for this one because they are demanding way too much money. And because of that, the owners have no choice but to penalize the fans for those greedy players. So, where my sentiments are going to be if we do have a work stoppage like it sounds like we're going to have in 2020.
We'll see what happens, that's for sure. Yeah, Mike Thomas becomes the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history. And, yes, we are getting back into the NFL talk. And I know we got some IndyCar to talk about. But I hate to say it, but it's secondary. I mean, NFL is back. Yeah, Mike Thomas, $100 million guaranteed over the next – $100 million over the next 5 years. $65 million of that is guaranteed, which means no matter what happens, he's going to get paid. Going to get paid. Here's the thing. I have a friend who collects baseball cards. Got some of the top baseball cards around. And I said, do you know how much these are worth? He goes, no, actually, they're not worth anything because I'm not going to sell them. So it's really whatever someone's willing to pay. So if the Saints are willing to pay Mike Thomas that kind of sick money, maybe he's worth it. I don't know. That establishes your worth, what someone's willing to pay. We'll certainly get into that. More of the NFL conversation here in a moment. But let's get into some IndyCar. We've got a handful of races left. We are down to the final stretch. It's hard to believe that IndyCar season goes by so fast, no pun intended. But, last week in Ohio, we saw really, and we saw it in NASCAR too. I told everybody that I knew, I said, if you're not a race fan and you didn't watch this weekend, you really miss racing on both fronts. NASCAR and IndyCar for that matter, not all fronts, but just NASCAR and IndyCar, you had Denny Hamlin and Eric Jones racing for the finish to both teammates there. And then in IndyCar, you had Scott Dixon and Felix racing for it. And I tell you what, Scott Dixon almost lost it to Felix Rosenthal. So, wow, exciting. What are your thoughts? Give us a recap about Columbus, sir.
Well, that was a big result for Rosenqvist. He badly needed that. I think right now he's headed into the same danger zone as Ed Jones is as far as being able to keep his ride at Ganassi. Gas has taken a gamble on some limited experience drivers the last couple of years, and it hasn't quite worked out for him. I think Rosenqvist will get another chance, but for 2020. But I think you look at scenarios right now with silly season ahead. I think pretty much everything is wrapped up. I think the only question that I have is, does Zach Beach keep his ride at Andretti? He's had some top 10 results in the last few weeks, but I'm not sure, even though he's got a big sponsor in Gainbridge, I don't know if that's going to be enough for him to keep his seat when you've got situations, possibly McLaren, possibly courting a Colton Hurd at this point. You have potentially the team testing their Indy Lights driver Ryan Norman. Linus VK has been a name that's been a hot topic about possibilities. And then, of course, if Oliver Askew wins the Indy Lights Championship, he gets that scholarship advancement. So I think right now, if you're looking at the big rides right now with silly season ahead, it's not going to be as wild as it was last year. But I think the guy right now that I think is on the hot seat, if there is one about the big three, has got to be Zach Beach.
Well, and I was just thinking about that earlier this week, and that's unfortunate because Zach has put forth a valiant effort, but that just goes to show that anything can change on a dime. Now, of course, we're just predicting at this point. But that's a pretty good prediction. Obviously, one thing that we were talking about that we won't be talking about, and that is Alexander Rossi re-signing a deal with Andretti, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago that that is the only makes sense way. Even though Roger Penske is Roger Penske, the only makes sense way was that, especially since Simon Pagenaud won the Indianapolis 500. Thoughts on Alexander Rossi's new contract with the Andretti team?
I think that was just a posturing move because, I just don't think Penske is keen on running 4 cars full time again. You saw when they ran 5 the last time in Indianapolis, and they had an absolute clunker of a month. So I don't know if that's just stretching themselves out too far. I think at least the captain may be thinking that. Pagenaud, if he hadn't won the Indy 500, I think that would have made sense, possibly Rossi replacing Pagenaud, but it just doesn't make sense now that Pagenaud, I think, has found his feet again at this point. And beyond that, you look at the small entries, and I think the big question is, do we see McLaren recommit to a full run with possibly a Colton Herta? And if that's the case, does George Steinbrenner IV and Mike Harding look for another young gun? Obviously, like I said, those Indy Lights veterans are looking good. Another name that's been popping up, Philip Nasser, the driver for Access Express Racing on the IMSA circuit, has been another name mentioned. So the thing is right now, the question is, are we going to see more of a commitment from some teams like Dragon Speed possibly going into a full-time run, maybe Shank going to a full-time run? So there's a lot of unanswered questions, I think, for the smaller organizations of the sport. But the thing that I think right now is my biggest concern is when we get to this hybridized system in 2022, which team's going to be able to afford it? Because that's going to be a massive raise in cost. And at this point, I only see 6 teams that can afford it right now. And that's my biggest concern. Marshall Pruitt says, yeah, the manufacturers are going to back it, but the question is, can the teams afford it?
No, absolutely, and let's go ahead and go there because I had that on my notes to talk about, and you mentioned it. So let's go ahead and explain to our listeners who may or may not know what you're talking about as far as the hybrid system goes.